Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Sufi Madhya binti Muhammad Nazri, and today I'll be talking about food additives and in-numbers, functional rules and halal issue. So first, let me begin by explaining what is food additives. So food additives are natural or synthetic substances that are intentionally added to food during processing, storage and packaging, and their primary purpose includes safety and freshness, sensory appeal and physical integrity. Now, to standardize this food additive, the E-number system was introduced. So the E stands for Europe, is a global coding system used to identify food additive, and its function is to group the additive by use. For example, E100 until E199 is for colorants. However, the main problem is A numbers only identify the chemical identity but not the source of the food additive. For example, E471, which is mono and diglyceride, which is a type of emulsifiers. It can be derived from either plants, which are halal, or animal fats, which can be potentially haram if the source of the animals comes from pork or non-halal slaughtered animals. Second, we move to the science and technology aspect. So many people think food additives are only a chemical, but it's actually a functional tool used to improve food quality and stability. So now let's take a look at the first example, which is an emulsifiers. So emulsifiers is a surface active agents that allow oil and water to mix. They function by reducing the interfacial tension between oil and water and allow them to form a stable mixture called an emulsion. Second is stabilizers and thickeners. So these create a gel-like structure to increase viscosity and to prevent ingredient separation. Next is preservative, which act as an antimicrobial agent that inhibit the growth of bacteria, yeast and mold, and to slow down the process of spoilage of food. Next is colorants, which is a pigment used to restore or enhance the visual appeal of processed product. Next, we move to the halal verification technologies. As I mentioned earlier, in numbers does not indicate the source of the additive. So, advanced analytical technique is required to detect whether the food additive come from halal or non-halal sources. So, first technique, we can use DNA-based testing, which is RT-PCR, stands for the real-time polymerase chain reaction, which can detect trace pores in DNA in additive like gelatin with very high accuracy. Second, we can use chromatographic profiling, which involve HPLC and GCMS to identify the source of fats in emulsifiers. And lastly, we can use FTIR spectroscopy to provide a rapid molecular fingerprint to screen for non-halal compound. Next, we move to the halal haram issues or concern which relate with its source and manufacturing process. So first is animal origin. So additive like gelatin or emulsifiers can be derived from porcine or pig sources or non-halal slaughtered cattle. Second is alcohol solvent. So some flavoring or colors use ethanol as a carrier, and if the alcohol remain above the permissible levels, typically around 0.5 to 1% depending on the fatwa, it becomes a concern. And lastly is cross-contamination, where the use of shared equipment for halal and non-halal additive production without proper ritual cleansing or surtu. And for conclusion, food additive and in-numbers are essential in ensuring food quality, safety and stability. However, from a halal perspective, source verification and processing transparency are crucial. So as Muslim consumers, we must be aware that not all in-numbers are haram, and the origin and production process can determine the halal status of the food additive. I think that's all from me. Thank you.